Welcome to the Sex, Money, and Real Estate Podcast, the show for real estate couples about how to close more deals in the bedroom. My name is Nancy Jamison.
And I'm Bill Jamison.
And each week we deep dive into juicy, intentional, sexy conversations, sharing with you what it takes to create balance in your intimate relationships and your real estate business. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, baby.
Hey, baby. What are you doing?
I am hanging out with you on this lovely day, and we're talking about all things with our business around how we run our business today. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yes, absolutely.
Or one of the facets of how we
run.
Right,
one of the things.
Yeah, right.
Because it is involved.
Multifaceted.
Yeah, multifaceted.
Like a diamond.
I don't want to say complex, but it's definitely
involved
for sure. Multi-leveled.
And, before we get started, I want to talk about some magic.
Okay, cool. What you got, baby?
Well, magic is how you influence yourself, others, or life in an empowering way.
Mm-hmm.
And my magic today is how I influenced myself, others, and life around my tooth this weekend. I was eating some Chinese food.
Mm-hmm.
And
you stole my Chinese food.
I stole your Chinese food. It's
Yes.
true. And the consequence was the other end of the stick
Oh.
was that I broke a tooth.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I broke it. I cracked it. And
Right.
then the nerve inside of it just got so crazy out of control. I woke up at 3:00 in the morning on Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to lose my mind. Like literally my face was pounding, my teeth. I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. And it was crazy. So we found the best dentist on our side of town or anywhere really that opened up at 8:00 in the morning.
Yep.
And
On a Saturday.
On a Saturday.
Yeah,
They
it
were
was
willing to take us at
fantastic.
8:30.
Yep.
And they were able to fix my tooth. They ended up doing a root canal.
Mm-hmm.
And fixing my tooth and having me out of there by 11:30. And they were the nicest, kindest, most compassionate people we've met in that field. And I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some experience with dentists. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple teeth worked on here and there, and it was something for sure. So I appreciate Grateful Dentistry or Grateful Dental.
Yeah, Grateful Dental.
Grateful Dental.
Yeah, in Marietta.
In Marietta. They were totally amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
And then I also have magic and gratitude for you for being so compassionate and, just taking amazing care of me when I'm sure I was not at the height of my my joy in that moment.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I get it though, man. I mean that pain right there next to your brain. Oh God.
Worst.
God.
The worst.
Yeah.
Ended up being the best that it could be. And I know I've cracked teeth before and had to have them pulled. So this one, the fact that they could save the tooth and put a crown on it, just all of that is crazy cool magic.
Yeah, it was neat. We got to talk music and
yeah, I got to talk. Yeah, because Grateful Dentist with the Grateful Dentist was a Grateful Dead fan.
Yeah, it was great.
We got to talk.
It was
all
super.
things that for a while. It was cool.
Yeah.
Some of the bands we follow now and that kind of thing. It was cool. That part of it was definitely fun for sure.
Yep.
So, how about you? You have any magic that's come up for you?
I do. So on Friday night, the eve of the worst toothache on the planet.
Yes.
We were at the Your Day Playground on Roswell Road in Atlanta in Sandy Springs, and I was taking my game day. Yes, my game
Pray
day.
tell is a game day.
Well, I'm so glad that you asked.
Thanks.
Our game day, so it's a physical assessment or something that we call feedback about how I was showing up in life for the last 90 days. So every 90 days I take a game day. It's a physical test. It has 4 quarters and points and exercises and measurements and all kinds of stuff, which we'll go to in a second.
And it shows the totality of your
essentially,
lifestyle.
Yeah,
right?
my beingness.
Your beingness, your lifestyle.
Yes, my habits,
your
my
habits.
lifestyle.
Those are great. Yeah, habits over the last 90 days.
Yeah, habits, fitness, health, and my consciousness. So it's beautiful. We utilize that technology in our business and for our personal really first, and then it flows into business. And so I was there with you on Friday night and getting measured. So I scored an advanced 80. Last 90 days, I was an advanced 78. So I did go up 2 points, which was awesome because I'm always intending on improving and, just really mastering myself. And it was great. It was great. So
nice. And the other beautiful thing is that not only do we use this game day technology for our jobs and our work and that kind of thing, but we use it with our family too. Your sister's taking game days.
Yep.
Rex and Lucas, our sons, took their game days within the last 7 days.
Yep. You took your game day.
I took my game day
last week too.
Finished at intermediate 83, and it was amazing for sure.
Yeah.
So we know quite a few people who take their game days every 90 days.
Yes. Well, all our coaching clients take the game days. Anytime we interview people or they come on board with us as employees or part of our team, they all take game days. And honestly, utilizing that technology is part of how we hire. It's a standard of hiring at Jamison and Company. So it's neat. It's neat.
So I think you had like an analogy for a game day.
What do you mean?
So you talked about like a credit score.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We were talking about that before we got started recording. Yeah. So the game day is like your credit score. So if you think of, in business, you have a credit score where you decide what you're going to buy based on your credit or what size home or the finances associated with the home. And so that's your credit score. And so you can think of the game day that it measures your horsepower. And essentially your horsepower is how much output or energy you're expending. And we like to think of our horsepower is, just like the horsepower on a car. The more powerful you are in terms of your horsepower, the more capacity you have, the more
ease that you move down the road.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And then again, just to circle back around to Jamison and Company, we're very passionate about providing world-class customer service and ensuring the real estate experience for our buyers and sellers is very successful and very enjoyable. I mean, our referral rate is 87% lifetime. So that's very important to us. And then with regard to the coaching client, I mean, we're definitely very intentional about providing the game day tool and the balance chart tool to them as a system that fortifies them and encourages them and teaches them all about moving down the road at ease. And we go into the balance chart on a different episode. I don't remember exactly which episode it is, but it's
out there.
It is. It's out there, already published. So that's it. I mean, we're a very hyper successful team. We have a unique team dynamic. We have a unique office culture. We have team workouts and outings and quarterly lunches. And again, we take the health and fitness very seriously.
We think it's better than health insurance.
Yes, well, absolutely it is. I mean, that's part of our benefits is we provide them this space with having access to the technology and access to the game days. And it's part of their benefit. Being on the balance chart and taking the game day every 90 days is something that we provide. So our culture is definitely very strong. It's one of accountability. It's proven, and it's what we do. So again, we're not necessarily for everybody yet. we do pretty well. It brings definitely brings value to the team. So,
and what's cool is that it helps to stay calm and cool. I mean, it can help and assist to stay calm and cool in the middle of a transaction.
Yes. Absolutely.
Not freak out. Being able to deal with the whether it's it's a long-term action or transaction. Thank you. With chronic stress involved or acute stress where just stuff pops up. It helps you stay calm and cool. Take the emotion out of the transaction so that your clients feel a greater sense of security as they're negotiating. What can be, quote unquote, I'm finger quoting here, treacherous waters working in real estate. So,
yeah, absolutely.
And then the other thing is that we've had clients, after experiencing us and our team who have gotten on the balance chart and taken their game days too.
Yep.
So it's pretty cool.
Yep, absolutely. Passing it around, paying it forward, baby.
Yep, and being the example.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what's a game day?
Well, game day is 5 levels of fitness. Okay, so it's 5 levels of fitness, and the levels are pretty easy to identify with. You can either be a beginner, an intermediate, an advanced player, a pro, or an all-star. So, I mean, you can think about little league or basketball, and or basically any sport, and identify beginner, intermediate, advanced, pro, or all star with that. It is a physical assessment that is administered every 90 days, and to stay current with your game day, you do need to take it every 90 days. And if you don't take it, then let's see, if you're like an intermediate, then you go back a level and start again.
Right. There's a 10-day window, like a grace window. It's called the life window, essentially, because life happens. So if you're on vacation or you can't get to it that exact day, then of course there is that 10-day window. So,
and then the game has 4 quarters, like most games that we know, basketball or
football
or something like that. 4 quarters, and each quarter is 25 points, and you get a score. So the first quarter is all about body composition. How much fat is on your body? Are you obese, or how lean are you? How are you dealing with life that way? The second quarter is all about power, and again, 25 points in the first quarter, 25 points in the second quarter. Second being power, all about strength and flow. Strength and flow is power, and no flow is force, right? Like, are you forcing to do things, or are you influencing yourself, essentially?
So the power quarter is strength exercises. You have 5 strength exercises.
Third quarter is cardio. The condition of your lungs, how well they work and absorb the oxygen, how fast you can cleanse and get rid of that carbon monoxide so you can get more oxygen in. And then the fourth quarter is flexibility.
It's my woo-saw spot.
It is your woo-saw spot.
Well, they're all kind of my woo-saw spot, but I probably enjoy flexibility.
So are you loose? Are you tight? How do you relate to life in that circumstance? It all goes back to being rigid or tight, or open and flexible. Where are you at?
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about in the beginning of this that there is the physical component, which is what you just went over, the physical aspects of the game day. And there's the metaphysical aspect of the game day. And so each quarter is telling us about your core beliefs as well. So the physical and the metaphysical, and that's how you get to the measuring the totality of who you are. So remember, when we went over the balance chart episode, we broke down the game. And so essentially, if you remember back in that episode, we talked about when the health of your habits are powerful enough to create joy in each and every day in the face of circumstances. Well, these 4 metaphysical quarters coincide with the 4 basic circumstances of the physical quarter. So, and based on Day Adioba, who is the visionary and architect of the game, the majority of the people go through these quarters according to all of his data over the last, since 22. Yeah, 1999.
Yep.
So it's there's definitely a lot of data behind this. So again, if you coincide with the first quarter is body composition for physical, and so the metaphysical is the difference in beliefs. Okay, so is there love or is there fear? And where there's fear, there's judgment, and judgment creates emotional attachment or emotional baggage, which again is the weight. So You could also think of it this way. If you're in love, love leans out. It just happens. And again, or you're in fear and you're making decisions or fear-based decisions, then there's a tendency to have the attachment, and the attachment creates the weight. So
beautiful. The second quarter talks about acute stress, power or flow, and influence. So, I mean, if if it's traffic or news or clients or stress spikes up in your body, are you reacting to things habitually, or are you relating to it in a different way? Operating with either power or force, the fight or flight, do you surrender to it and move through it? That's the question. Power is infinite, of course. Force is finite and will wear your butt out. Power will sustain your health, for sure. And so you're looking to stay in your center, in this power center, right? It's all about your center of power, and stay in your flow.
Yeah, right.
So that's 5 different exercises around a plank hold and doing some upper and lower body work, and how well do you relate to that? And again, all based on over 20 years of data that Dave's put into this. The third quarter talks about chronic stress, and the third quarter is all about the cardio. And so if it's a beginner game day, you're literally walking, and you're walking uphill on a treadmill, and seeing how far you can get in a specific amount of time.
Sure.
So that's pretty cool. The thing
that I like about this quarter is that this is the quarter that addresses how you are relating to stress over time. So when you're waking up in the morning, or when you're going to bed, or what's going on with the kids, or what's going on with the finances, or what's going on with the market, or what's going on with the clients, or, all of those things, like, are you relating to those things powerfully, or are you feeling victim to them? Or are you, if you're feeling victim to them, then chances are you're either thinking too far out in the future or too far back in the past, and condemning yourself for a decision that you made, and all that's measuring is that you're not present.
Right.
You're either, you're blown out. You're either in the future or in the past. And when you're not present, then you experience this sense of panic.
Yes.
And so that's what the third quarter addresses. And being in business for decades now, and business owners, I feel like that's definitely one of the things that we can relate to, especially in real estate and in relationships. I mean, our business is all relationships. And so when you don't necessarily follow a schedule, like, that's the first thing that goes. So it's fascinating. It's controlled chaos. And sometimes it's just so chaotic, and it feels like it gets away from us, but it really shows up in the cardio aspect of it. So,
man, you see it come up big time in that quarter too. People freak out over that, the stress of the cardio, and the thing is that your body only experiences stress in one way. So whether it's on the cardio or, negotiating a contract, or you're in contract and trying to get it closed and stuff comes up, your body experiences stress the same way. So how do you address yourself when you're in that level of stress? So when you have a measurement, then you have an idea of how you really are either reacting or being proactive with it, and can address it that way.
Right. Exactly. And so at that point, your chronic stress that you experience over time, turns into acute stress,
right.
Which is what happens when you're sitting in that squat hold, and you cannot surrender to the quote unquote pain of being in the squat hold. So it's fascinating. And that's actually my example, that when I'm interviewing people, and I'll put them in a squat hold in the interview, and then I see real quick how fast they can relate to stress. Is it powerfully, or do they surrender and just kind of move through it, or, just what's their relationship to it? Because when they have a seller yelling at them, or a client yelling at them, that's the same way that they're going to show up, to your point. So it's fascinating.
And then the fourth quarter is, like you said, your sweet spot, talking about flexibility and being rigid or loose.
Yeah. I mean, again, it really, it's the thinking. So that represents difference in choices. When things change, on the schedule, how are you responding? Are you going with the flow, or are you just in total turmoil because something just changed on your schedule, or something just changed with the contract and the closing date, or somebody canceled on you, a buyer appointment or a listing appointment canceled on you, or your kid's sick and now you got to figure out how you're going to go pick up your kid while you're showing property, while you have to prepare for, X, Y, and Z. So it's how are you relating to those choices?
Who are you going to get? How are you going to figure out to take your buyers out when you've cracked a tooth?
Oh yeah,
at 8:00 in the morning when you're under extreme duress.
Yeah.
Or 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then your buyers are going out at 10, and you gotta
you got 10 houses to look at.
Yeah, you want to honor the commitment.
Of course.
Are you freaking out, or are you just like everything's going to work out? And stay in your power so that you can come up with a solution.
Mm-hmm. And influence.
Yeah, and influence. Because if you're freaking out, you're not gonna come up with a solution that is going to be a benefit to everybody.
Mm-mm.
So,
nope.
And we did, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And she was awesome, and she rocked it out. And
shout out to Nina.
Yeah, and she totally took care of it. So, yeah, so that's where we are. And again, I just want to say that's why we put our coaching clients in, we have the standard of our coaching clients go through the game day every 90 days, and they're on the balance chart.
Yep. And
we have the standard of the team that even our event planner goes through these things. So it's very important. It's very important.
And the neat thing is that we're all playing the same game, right? So we get to measure and average our horsepower out, so we know where our team stands as well.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know. I just think it's neat.
Yeah, it is. It's super critical, and it creates such a sense of camaraderie because again, you're layering on a whole nother level of accountability that isn't normally there. There aren't a whole lot of real estate teams that go through or provide health and fitness as a benefit, or gym memberships as a benefit. And then to be able to have that conversation and talk about the totality of you and talk about different things that come up. And it's just, it's a transparent, authentic, real conversation. And it really assists us in assisting them in transforming their lives. And it's beautiful. It's totally beautiful. We love it.
Yep.
So what I can hear the email now. Well, how do I get my team on a game day, or how do I, talk to you about like that? I can see that question already coming in.
That's yeah. So we're Atlanta based right now.
Yeah.
And the Your Day Balance game is essentially Atlanta based now. You could fly. We do have, the world's busiest airport. So I'm sure you can catch a flight into Atlanta for yourself or your team and hang out with Day or Anthony and
any of the coaches.
And get game dayed.
Yep.
Right. And get that feedback for yourself and get that feedback for your team. And then the other thing is that I'm sure there would be open to is flying out to your team. If you're going to fly them out, they'll game day you. They'll figure out a way to get game dayed. And
yeah, that'd be easy.
I think so. Where you are. And either way, it'll be whether you do one game day or you choose to do them every 90 days, the feedback that you get from doing a game day will be absolutely amazing, transformative, and it's something you can carry on through your business for sure and your life.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I love it. I love it.
Cool. So I feel like this is kind of a scientific episode. Health and fitness boiled down to numbers, but if you don't have the numbers, you don't have actual feedback. There's so many people who, I'm finger quoting again, think that they're doing well with their fitness and how they're relating to life. And when you can get actual data on it and have actual feedback from both the physical and metaphysical side, it is a tool that nobody else is using out there, and one that you can really use to up your game, up your business, up your personal power, so that you're relating better to your kids and your work and everything else in between. I love it.
Yep, absolutely. You can't expect what you don't inspect. And if you're not inspecting, then you think you're further than you actually are, and that's called denial.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
Whatever to denial.
That's funny. Cool.
How much does a game day cost?
Oh, a game day is $150.
Yep.
Yep.
Every 90 days.
Every 90 days.
Yep.
Best money you ever spent.
Yep. So typically how we set it up is we've got auto draft. It comes out $50 every month for each one of us. And remember, we told you guys that our kids do this. So I think they're on their 12th or 13th game day, by the way. And they're 12 and 13, almost 13 and 14, which is crazy. Nevertheless, they game day too. And so Luke is a high beginner and Rex is a high intermediate. So it's very approachable.
Yep. And the feedback that they get from doing their game day is the same that we get. How they relate to school and life and friends and
their phones and all the stuff. All of it.
Actually, it gives them a step up.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it does.
Cool. All right. Well, I am feeling super duper complete.
Cool. I do have one quick last minute show note, if you don't mind.
You got another note? I love it.
It was just one.
Cool. What you got?
So I'm asking you, please, from the bottom of our hearts, to subscribe to the podcast, leave us a 5-star review, and share it. Share it. Because we all know realtors or realtor industry couples, whether it's mortgage and realtor or inspector and realtor or mortgage and whatever iteration of the real estate industry couple that works together, you all know someone that needs to hear this info. So just share it. We love that. And obviously, if you'd like to connect with us more or have any questions about this episode, feel free to DM us on Instagram at sexmoneyrealestate or email us at sexmoneyrealestate@gmail.com.
Awesome. Cool.
I can't sing.
Well, I love you, baby.
I love you too. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for hanging out with me today.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you.
Peace.
Wow, what a show. Thank you so much for listening. If you're inspired, we ask that you share the podcast with one person and subscribe and follow our show. I'm Nancy Jamison.
And I'm Bill Jamison.
And remember, it's a great life.
Woo!
Quick note about the Sex, Money, and Real Estate podcast. We are not doctors or licensed therapists. We are a joyous, abundant, and mature couple passionately sharing our story of growth around sex, money, and real estate. Our thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are our own, so please consult your doctor, healthcare provider, or your broker regarding any questions or issues you have related to your physical or mental health or specific state laws regarding your real estate business.